It's Thursday, June 9th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski with a rundown of the latest local news. We'll also take a look later on at the front pages of our HAN Network community newspapers this week. Rob Adams will have your forecast and a Nutmeg Sports update, and Donald Ang will take a look back on this day in history. But first, last summer's computer issues at the DMV may continue to affect drivers this summer, according to the department, who says 50,000 incorrect tax bills may have been sent out. The DMV held a briefing at 1 p.m. at its headquarters in Wethersfield yesterday. Commissioner Michael Bizra said some drivers may receive tax bills with the incorrect tax town or other information on them. He said it was the result of last summer's computer upgrades. He said data in the old computer system was compiled from customers over decades and could have old addresses that were never changed by someone who moved or incorrect information given when registering a vehicle. The new computer system attempts to standardize information so that there is consistency in DMV records as well as those given to towns for tax billing purposes. Officials recommend contacting the driver's local tax assessor to help make the change. They also said a request to transfer to the correct town the driver lived in as of October 1st, 2015 must be made. And a Norwalk man stopped by state police in Bridgeport Tuesday night was found to have 2.3 pounds of marijuana and 52 grams of concentrated THC. On Tuesday night, a trooper observed a vehicle driven by 21-year-old Christian Scott cutting across the area of Route 25 southbound at Exit 2 in Bridgeport. Troopers stopped the vehicle, a 2011 black Audi, at the bottom of the Exit 1 ramp. And through the course of the investigation, troopers located over 2 pounds of marijuana and 52.1 grams of the concentrated THC, as well as $1,600 in cash, digital scales, narcotic packaging material, and other drug paraphernalia. Scott has been arrested on drug charges, including possession and possession with intent to sell. And Milford police arrested a Bridgeport man they say led them on a high-speed chase June 2nd. On June 2nd, detectives from the Milford Police Department's Narcotics and Vice Unit were on anti-crime patrol in the area of the Super 8 Motel on Boston Post Road when they tried to stop a vehicle because the driver wasn't wearing a seatbelt. During that motor vehicle stop, the driver sped off, striking two detectives with his car. The vehicle engaged police in pursuit onto I-95 southbound, where it was last seen in Stratford near Exit 32. Through the investigation, detectives were able to identify the operator as 40-year-old Alan Bulware of 35 Terrace Circle in Bridgeport. Police arrested him June 3rd. They said that when he was located, Bulware had heroin in his possession and ingested some of it in an attempt to hide it from police. He was unable to post a $150,000 bond, but was arraigned in court on June 7th. And a man struggled with Danbury officials even after he was shot with a taser during a disturbance Tuesday afternoon at the city's public library. Police said 32-year-old Jeremy Small suddenly began throwing chairs around at the Danbury Library around noon. The suspect, who is 6 foot 2 inches tall and weighs about 300 pounds, also flipped a table and continued to throw books near a group of elderly patrons. When police arrived, Small was screaming and was unresponsive to their commands. At one point, he pushed over a bookcase and threw books at the officers. Officers twice shot him with a stun gun, but Small continued to resist. He was eventually taken into custody and charged with first-degree criminal mischief, reckless endangerment, breach of peace, and interfering with an officer. The suspect was then taken to Danbury Hospital for evaluation. The library was temporarily closed on Tuesday because of the damage caused during that incident. And Neil Vigdor of Hearst, Connecticut Media is reporting that Bernie Sanders is looking to settle the score with Governor Dannel Malloy. The Vermont senator, who has yet to accept Hillary Clinton as the presumptive Democratic nominee, has renewed his demand that Malloy be stripped of his leadership role at the party's upcoming national convention. And this according to a Sanders campaign aide. Sanders could use Malloy as a bargaining chip in outlining the conditions of his surrender. Sanders holds a grudge against Malloy for suggesting that the senator had blood on his hands on the issue of gun control. Brad Deutsch, the legal counsel for the Sanders campaign, wrote last month that Malloy even ventured that Senator Sanders should be held accountable for the death and destruction caused by his mistakes. Sanders' previous call for Malloy's removal as the platform committee co-chairman were rejected by convention officials. And 2 Stratford stores were found in violation of state rules against selling tobacco products to minors. Stratford police and staff from the State Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services Tobacco Prevention and Enforcement Program conducted unannounced compliance inspections on May 25th of 15 stores that sell tobacco products. And under the direction of the agency's investigators used an underage youth who entered the establishment and tried to purchase products. The 2 establishments found in violation were Wheels at 440 Lordship Boulevard and the Honey Spot Motor Lodge at 360 Honey Spot Road. Police said the offending clerks at the establishments were issued tickets with a $200 fine, and the cigarette dealer license holder at each establishment will also face additional administrative sanctions from the state. But you can get more on that at StratfordStar.com. And a Norwalk man faces drug charges in New Canaan after being pulled over for tinted windows. 31-year-old Kwong Lu was arrested May 22nd after the investigating officer stopped the vehicle and smelled the odor of marijuana. Lu admitted that there was marijuana in his vehicle, and a search found that marijuana was packaged for sale, along with oxycodone pills, liquid THC, a scale, and other paraphernalia. Lu was charged with possession of narcotics and possession with intent to sell. All right, but we're going to switch gears now and throw it over to Rob Adams for a look at the forecast.
All right, Kate, good morning, everyone. We have a mostly sunny day and a high near 72. A little bit of cloud cover outside right now, but nothing to get too excited about. We've got a breezy day, though, with a northwest wind from 15 to 20. So when you're wondering why it's kind of chilly for a 72-degree day, that's what it is. It's coming in from the northwest with that breeze. Mostly clear tonight and a low of only 49. Now, that might have made for some good sleeping weather last night. We'll see if that's on the chillier end of the scale as we drop down into the upper 40s. Wind out of the west from 8 to 11. To Friday, sunny and 73. Nice sounding day. But again, the wind stays pretty strong, steady and northwest at 11 miles per hour. Friday night, mostly clear and a low of 54. As we move to Saturday, partly sunny and a high 75. To Saturday night, we've got a chance of showers and thunderstorms, mostly cloudy and 62. But sunny and 78 for Sunday. Monday, sunny and 74. Absolutely beautiful. Sunny and 76 Tuesday. Hey, we're hitting the jackpot. Sunny and 79 for Wednesday. Special temperatures around the region today because we're saying goodbye to a couple of our interns, and we probably won't get them on the air even though we should. So for Jenny Schrenker in Darien, it is 63. For Grant Weiler in Weston, it is 62. And for Donald Eng in Shelton, it's 62 degrees, Kate.
I'm sure Don loves being lumped in with the interns. Good job, Rob. No, we just love Don. All right, just kidding. Well, we are going to step out for a break. When we come back, Donald Eng, who's not an intern, will join us to take a look back on this day in history. Rob has a Nutmeg Sports update with some boys lacrosse highlights, and we have some more news coming up after this.
Connecticut is coming back to hometown banking, to a partner that makes small businesses feel big, where community comes first, where you get the know-how only neighbors can deliver, where saving time is important too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well. With the 24-month Bank Well Smart CD, you can earn 1.35% APY and raise your rate and add to your CD.
Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
You're watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 1 million people have watched our live sports, news, and entertainment programming since the network launched in August 2015. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
We're back on this Thursday edition of your Coffee Break. Time to throw it over to Donald Eng for a look back on this day in history.
Well, Kate, a senator sees the tide turn against him. But first we go to someone who had superseded the Senate, Nero, 68 CE. The Roman emperor commits suicide at age 30 after quoting Homer's Iliad, thus ending the Julio-Claudian dynasty and starting a civil war known as the Year of the Four Emperors. Nero was known for his willingness to execute anyone who was an inconvenience to him, including his own mother, by the way. He's also the prime suspect in the Great Fire of 64, which leveled the part of the city where he wanted to build his palace. The Colosseum stands on the site today of the Great Fire. To 1978. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints opens its priesthood to all worthy men. This ends a 148-year policy of excluding black men. Men of black African descent were permitted to hold the priesthood in the early days of the Latter-day Saint movement, but following the death of Joseph Smith, Brigham Young instituted the ban. This practice persisted after Young's death and was maintained until the announcement of the 1978 Revelation. To a bit of horse racing here. 1973, Secretariat wins the Belmont Stakes and with it the U.S. Triple Crown. Considered the greatest thoroughbred of all time, Secretariat broke the speed records for all three Triple Crown races. All of those records still stand today, by the way. Corrected for time, Secretariat, famously described as moving like a tremendous machine, would have beaten every other Belmont winner by 12 lengths. And finally, now we go to 1954 for this.
And I want to say, Mr. Welch, that it has been labeled long before he became a member, as early as 1944.
Senator, may we not drop this? We know he belongs to the Lawyers Guild. And Mr. Cole nods his head at me. I did you, I think, no personal injury, Mr. Cole.
No, sir.
I meant to do you no personal injury. And if I did, I beg your pardon. Let us not assassinate this lad further, Senator. You've done enough. Have you no sense of decency, sir? At long last, have you left no sense of...
That, of course, was Joseph Welch, special counsel for the U.S. Army, lashing out at Senator Joe McCarthy during hearings on whether communism had infiltrated the Army, giving McCarthy the famous rebuke, "Have you no sense of decency, sir?" Welch was reacting to McCarthy's attack on Fred Fisher, a junior associate at Welch's firm who had associated with the National Lawyers Guild while still in law school. The NLG was suspected of being a communist front, and an exasperated Welch made his remarks at what he considered an unprovoked attack on one of his subordinates. The statement is generally considered as the beginning of the end of what we now call McCarthyism. That is your look back in history for today, June 9th, and I'm Donald Eng.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, getting back to a little more news today. August Wolf, a candidate primarying for the Connecticut Republican U.S. Senate nomination, has been accused by a former staffer of making sexually explicit comments towards her that caused for an uncomfortable and hostile work environment. State Representative Dan Carter of Bethel has been officially endorsed by the state Republican Party, but Wolf is trying to force a primary in August. The eventual Republican candidate will face U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal in November. Samantha May, who acted as a political consultant for Wolf for 2 months, filed a 12-page suit against him in Stamford Superior Court on Wednesday, June 1st. She alleges that Wolf made sexual comments that were severe and pervasive. In the suit, she alleges that Wolf often called her babe asked her if she had ever been sexually satisfied by a real man, and made inquiries regarding her sexual practices. May also accused Wolf of election law violations, saying he illegally coordinated activities with an unidentified super PAC and failed to account for campaign contributions. This isn't the first time that Wolf has been accused of inappropriate behavior by former members of his campaign team. In February, former staffers referred to Wolf as a grown-up frat boy to the Connecticut Mirror. They also told the Mirror that Wolf's campaign was toxic due to his negative gossiping about the romantic lives of those who worked on his campaign, including insensitivity and hostility toward gay staffers. All right, but we are going to switch gears now and throw it back to Rob for a Nutmeg Sports Update.
All right, Kate, we've got lots to do, so let's jump into it. We begin in boys lacrosse. We had doubleheader action at Fairfield University's Rafferty Stadium on the HAN network last night. Game 1 in Class M featured the Daniel Hand Tigers taking on the New Milford Rebels as we take a look at the highlights. With the rain out of the way, we are ready for the 2016 CIAC Class M semifinal in boys lacrosse. To the far side it goes, and a one-time try bounced around, pinballed off the post, and then it's thrown home. John Morgan, the first goal of the evening. It comes with 6:24 to go in the first, 1-0 New Fairfield. Bouncing back out, it's scooped up by the Tigers as they go from left to right now. Swung down low and thrown on net off the little fake, and in it goes for Mendocino. It's 2-1. Face-off, though, by Clark. Clark gets down low, throws, score! Buffington, a 3-1 game.
Coach Dion was saying they have got their eyes set on getting back there with a different result.
And they are able to tie it up. It's McGurk to do so. With 6 to go in the half, we're knotted at 3. Swinging left. Tigers looking to tie it. Getting close. Bang! Gottlick, it's a 4-4 game.
And they get out in transition. It's an odd man rush.
11:19 to go. Third quarter. A 4-4 game and a blast on net and a goal. Now it's 5-4.
And it's Brett Tenaglia, and it was Hand who was sitting back in the zone that time.
Beautiful facility called the Surf Club. Cutting down low, little knock, and Bond does get the shot this time. It's a 5-5 game.
And a good job going up high to grab that one. The quick release on the one-timer, Bond buries it.
5-5 the score, 7:49 to go, third quarter. Mendocino stepping in, gets close, gives Daniel Hand a 6-5 lead. Dancing inside, trying to flip it along. It bounces away. Sent across. Here comes the shot and scoring. Able to score, Colin Ford. 21 to go, 7-6 New Fairfield. Trying to take it away, the Rebels. Can't do it. Picked right back up by the Tigers. They look for the equalizer. Sent across, and they've got it. It's McGurk with his third, and we're tied at 7. Necessarily for either team. Down, thrown, net, score. Nicely done. Looked like it was Palumbo to make it an 8-7 game. Here comes Buffington. Buffington moving from right to left. We're down to 10. Working in close. Along it goes. Trying, and it gets loose. Goes to the far side. We're down to 6. Taken away by the Daniel Hand Tigers. They've got it. They can run it out, and this one is over. On to the championship. The Daniel Hand Tigers survive with an 8-7 win over a very tough New Fairfield Rebel. George McGurk had a hat trick for the Tigers as they took the 8-7 decision from the Rebels. They will take on the New Canaan Rams. The Rams built a big lead before hanging on for a 13-10 victory over Joel Barlow in the semis at Brian McMahon High School. Ryan O'Connell had 4 goals in that win. In our second game at Fairfield University, Ridgefield tried to ruin Darienne's perfect season in the Class L semis. Here are those highlights. Live from Rafferty Stadium's Conway Field on the campus of Fairfield University. Time for game number 2 of our doubleheader. It's the Class L semifinals in boys lacrosse on the HAN network tonight. The top seed, the Darien Blue Wave, take on the number 5 seed Ridgefield Tigers. Fowler on the near side starts to dance in, has a good seam, and scores! It's Drew Fowler for the Tigers. 1-0 Ridgefield. Back it goes to Riley Stewart. He gets in, feeds it off to his right, goes back behind the cage from Niffen. They'll wind it around to the near side to Minikis. Minikis feathers it across and on net. What a beautiful play, throwing it home to tie it up is Niffen. The underhand to Hudson Hamill, who fires and goes top shelf, 3-2. Plays catch with Minikis, feathers it along, and climbing the ladder is Jack Niffen. It's a 4-3 game. Trying for the outlet with 7. Initially scooped right back up. Here's Niffen. He's dangerous. Goes left from his knees down the book. Score! Minikis with .7 remaining in the first half. It's been a 4-0 run for the Blue Wave. But not what a pretty shot by Greg Gatto to stop the bleeding. It's 7-4.
But again, Darien being given shots from out wide. This time it's Book, and he's taking them.
And it's the Blue Wave scoring again. Best of luck to Catherine Granito and the Rams, and best of luck to the Darien Blue Wave, who have advanced to the Class L championship. They knock off the Ridgefield Tigers by a score. By the way, Frank Granito and Dan Arestia on the call with me last night. Jack Niffen paced the Blue Wave with 5 goals as Darien finished the Tigers' season 10-6. The Wave await the winner of Fairfield Prep and Southington. The Jesuits and Blue Knights meet tonight at Sage Park in Berlin. In Class S, St. Joseph is back in the title game as Cillian Donahue stopped 10 of 18 shots to beat East Catholic 9-2. Jared Newell scored 3 times for the Cadets. They'll play Somers as the Spartans defeated Granby 12-10. As you get a look at the full scoreboard from yesterday, plenty of activity, and as you see, we're still waiting on one semifinal game to be completed with Simsbury and Fairfield Prep taking place later tonight. So the schedule is all set for the finals. Let's run through them quickly now. On Friday, Class M will be held at Palmer Field in Middletown in baseball. It's Wolcott and Northwestern. That's at 7 o'clock. Softball also Friday, Class L, Fitch and Massac. That is at 7 o'clock. There will also be a 7 o'clock game at DeLuca Field in Stratford. Class M softball is Rocky Hill and Seymour. Again, that's 7 o'clock. Here's the Saturday schedule. Amity and Fairfield Ward at Palmer Field in Middletown. That is a 12 o'clock start for Class L, Amity and Ward. Class S at Palmer Field at 3:30 brings St. Paul and Morgan. That is, again, at 3:30. Class L, 7 o'clock, East Lyme and Notre Dame of West Haven, and again, all that at Palmer Field. To boys lacrosse, Class S on Saturday will be at 10:30 at Brian McMahon High School. The 1 o'clock game is Class L between Darien and, of course, TBA, because we don't know if it'll be Fairfield Prep or Simsbury. And then Class M will be New Canaan and Daniel Hand. All those games at Brian McMahon at 3:30. Now, boys volleyball, South Windsor and Joel Barlow will be at Kennedy. That's at 4 o'clock. Girls lacrosse, Class L is Darien and Fairfield Ward. It's at Jonathan Law at 10 a.m. Class M is at noon with Joel Barlow and New Canaan, and Class S is at 2 o'clock with Canton and Somers, again, all at Jonathan Law in Milford. Softball, we know Class S is still TBA on both sides. Their semifinals are later, but it's at DeLuca Field and Stratford at 1 o'clock, and Class L, Cheshire and Amity at West Haven at 4 o'clock. That's all we know in terms of the schedule right now. In girls tennis, Anna Mia Barsante and got it all wrong here. Anna Barsante and Mia Durst were crowned double state open champions from Darien High School. What else is new? On the schedule today, boys lacrosse Class L, Simsbury and Fairfield Prep. That is at 4:30. Boys volleyball, it's Ridgefield and Darien at 6 at Fairfield Ward. Class S, Holy Cross softball against East Granby at 4 o'clock at West Haven. And Class S, Stafford and Notre Dame of Fairfield at West Haven at 7 o'clock tonight. There's your very busy schedule and a very busy sports day. Good time for sports with all of it. I'm Rob Adams. Kate, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Rob. Well, getting back to a little more news today. New Canaan First Selectman Rob Malazzi said that the Charter Revision Commission recommendation to remove the Board of Finance chairmanship from the First Selectman's responsibility has been noticed by the public, and the perception is that it's personal. He said that became clear to him on Memorial Day when a number of people around town asked him, "Why are they doing this to you?" The town council formed a charter revision commission last September to review the structure and distribution of power in town government and possibly make recommendations for change. And one of those major changes is recommending that the town council is now considering to put out for public vote in November, taking away the responsibility of chairing the Board of Finance from the first selectman. The CRC favors that recommendation by a 7-1 margin. But there's a lot more on that story at ncadvertiser.com. And police in Newington say they're looking for the owner of a dog that may have fallen from a car window. They said the dog was found on Willard Avenue in Newington, and if anyone recognizes the dog or knows who the owner might be, they're asked to contact Animal Control there at 860-594-6250. Police said the dog would be available for adoption in 7 days if the owner can't be found. And residents of Reading, Weston, Ridgefield, and Wilton will get to enjoy Georgetown Day again this year. The annual event is slated for this Sunday, June 12th. The festival includes live music, vendors, food, and of course features the wares of Georgetown businesses and restaurants. One of the most popular events year after year is the Chili Cook-Off, which is led by Gilbert Bennett Cultural Center's Pat Hegner. This year, the festival will no longer extend into the parking lot in front of Georgetown Package Store, but will make up for lost space by extending up to Old Mill Road past the Wire Mill Barbecue restaurant. Route 57 will not be closed to traffic due to this change, and the festival will have police officers at the crossings to help people cross the street safely. But all right, we are going to step out for a break, and when we come back, John Kovach joins me to take a look at the front pages of our HAN Network newspapers this week.
I really wanted something that felt like a home. Coming from a big house, I wanted the feel of a home as opposed to a condo. The construction is incredible, whether it's the floors, the fireplace, the moldings, the lighting. It's as peaceful as my home was in the middle of the woods. It feels like a house. It does not feel like a condo or a townhome. I feel like I'm in my house.
Mosquitoes, ticks, gone. Guaranteed. That's what Mosquito Squad guarantees as America's most trusted mosquito and tick control company. Locally owned and operated, over 90,000 homes have been protected by Mosquito Squad using their dual protection method for season-long protection, which includes barrier spray service for eliminating mosquitoes and adult ticks, as well as supplemental programs to increase tick control. They use only USDA organic options, which are safe and non-toxic. Contact them today at www.squadctny.com or 203-893-4309. Mosquito Squad. No bugs, no bites, no kidding.
Alberto Londano Professional Painting, Wallpapering, and Carpentry has been serving Fairfield County for over 20 years. Based in Norwalk, Alberto takes pride in his work by offering you only the best quality service and products. Call Alberto today to get a free estimate and be one step closer to a new and exciting home makeover. 203-866-9635.
A Better View Window Cleaning Plus has been cleaning glass all over Connecticut for over 20 years. They also specialize in cleaning chandeliers, mirrors, skylights, tiles, and will power wash anything that needs cleaning. They hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and are fully insured and bonded. When you deal with the Better View, you're dealing with the best, not the rest. Call today for a free estimate, 203-284-8836, or visit them online, abetterviewcleaning.com.
Hi, I'm Rob Adams with my good friend Donald Eng, and we're the home team for Nutmeg Sports, Monday through Wednesday at 2 o'clock right here on the HAN Network. We are the place for all things Connecticut sports, so come hang out with us on Nutmeg Sports. Don? They don't call him the best color man in the game for nothing. Nutmeg Sports, 2 o'clock, Monday through Wednesday, right here on the HAN Network.
We're back on your coffee break, and since it's Thursday, John Kovach is joining me, our editorial director, to take a look at the front pages of our papers this week. John, what do you have up first?
There is a lot going on, and let's start in Stratford, where you can see there was some hula hooping going on along with some other things at the Main Street Festival. But the big news is all in politics, a story you have brought us on coffee break here. Mark Dumas resigning from the town council, then trying to unresign less than an hour
later.
And the opinion being that no, the vacancy has been created, and it cannot be reclaimed.
That is interesting.
Also, a frequent primary seeker, Michael Singh, he's seeking a primary Joe Gresco, that for the assembly seat that was held by the late Terry Backer, and a challenge for de facto for the leadership of Republicans in Stratford. And that is where Mark Scheck has filed papers to challenge Lou DeCilio for Republican Registrar of Voters. DeCilio also chairman of the Republican Town Committee in an unrelated but somewhat related job.
Wow, so lots of political news in Stratford. Well, I'm taking a look at the front page of the Trumbull Times, and just a very sweet lead photo of two students at Jane Ryan Elementary School, Carolyn and Mia, both cancer survivors, and they held a 2-2 trot relay at the school recently, and you know, a lot of people came out to support them, so very sweet there. And of course, a lot of political news in Trumbull, most of that centered around the proposed community center. There is currently a building committee studying that community center, but there's been a lot of backlash to this. And First Selectman Tim Herbst and his former opponent for the First Selectman seat, Vicky Tesoro, exchanging criticism in community center correspondence. And there's been a lot going on with that. And
there's just a lot of Mad Libs going on there, isn't there?
There is. Well, what's up next, John?
I'm taking a look at Monroe, where they were off in the Sprint for Monroe 5K, and you had more than 100 children in the Race for Chase Kids Fun Run. Great shot there by Melissa Alves. The Farmers Market in Monroe will be back a week from tomorrow. That's June 17th. And there are concerns being raised about zebra mussels in Lake Zor. Where they spread is they stay on your boat, they stay in the they get in where water is held in the boat and then get out into new lakes. And another event coming back, the Strawberry Festival, that on Saturday the 18th.
That's a big one. People love that. All right, John. Well, I am taking a look at the front page of the Shelton Herald. National Trails Day was on June 4th to celebrate American Hiking Society's National Trails Day. But there's a nice story on all the great trails that are in Shelton. There really are some lovely trails just very near to this office, actually. Some beautiful spots. It's a great part of the city. And a mother whose son died of a drug overdose 4 years ago, she's going to be holding a blood drive to honor him. And so that's just a nice way to honor his memory.
In Wilton, the Kiwanis Club has given a gift to the town to help spruce up a project on River Road, and the gift of labor was given by the Nielsen Company as they turned out to help the Mianus chapter of Trout Unlimited with a river cleanup. Also down there in Wilton, Georgetown Day this Sunday, and Late Night Wilton, that's going to be Friday night at the Little Theater. That's going to be kids, kind of a talent type thing with high school and middle school kids.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Well, I'm taking a look at the front page of the Milford Mirror. A lot of big news this week that we brought you on Coffee Break, but Jill Dion covered the sentencing of Christopher Plaskin, who appeared in court on Monday. He pled no contest to the charges that he murdered his classmate Marin Sanchez a couple of years ago. And I think Jill Dion did a great job of kind of covering the emotion in the courtroom, because the family of Marin was able to speak. Christopher Plaskin chose not to speak, but through his attorney issued an apology to the family. But there are a lot of details in that story, and you could find it online as well.
I'm going to ask you kind of a personal question on that, because I know what happened to me as that sentence was being handed down Monday, and I was following Jill's coverage and following you on Coffee Break. Was I was really flashing back to that Ridgefield studio where we were that Friday when that happened, and as that word was coming in, and just really almost reliving that horrible day.
It was. I mean, it's just a nightmare on the day of their junior prom. Just a terrible story there. But Jill Dion did a great job, and hopefully now at least there's some closure as that is over with.
A story from New Canaan that you just brought us on Coffee Break, and that is that First Selectman Rob Malazzi is expressing concerns that maybe the process of charter change has gotten personal. The big focus of the debate there, and it's been debated every time they've done charter revision for decades, should the First Selectman automatically be chairman of the Board of Finance as is structured in New Canaan? There's also an interesting story. Grace Farms, which is it's a religious organization that bought a large piece of property in New Canaan that the town actually passed on opportunities to buy. There's an ongoing dispute between them and neighbors. A suggestion from Silver Hill Hospital about creating a summer of simple memories. And fifth graders at Saks acting as kind of mentors and welcoming the new students and giving them orientation before they move on to Saks Middle School.
All right. Well, I'm taking a look at the front page of the Easton Courier. Big news there. A court rejecting Saddle Ridge petitions. A long case over dense housing there has ended. Nancy has been covering that story for quite a while. And Ivy Bladdock, this dog right here, is in year 2 of being the #1 dog in Easton. That means she's the first to get her license for the last 2 years because it is dog licensing season. And a former Eastonite will be at the Olympics helping to bear the torch there. So very cool.
Great shot by Scott Mullen on the cover of the Lewisboro Ledger, and that is of a flamenco dancer at the Caramore Center for the Arts. Big event coming up in Lewisboro, and that the Relay for Life that begins on Saturday at 5. And a longtime writer for Hersom Acorn, the HAN network, Jane K. Dove, being honored as a woman of distinction in Lewisboro.
All right. Well, I am taking a look at the Reading pilot. Easton and Reading Middle Schools beginning to look at a new grading system. This is something that I know is kind of started in elementary schools, kind of a different sort of grading system, and now they're discussing it for the middle schools. Also, a baseball field on the Reading border may get lights. That's always a big discussion for nearby neighbors, but we'll see what happens there. And the Joel Barlow High School boys golf team won its first state division championship on Monday, so congratulations to them.
I love the photo on the front of the Darien Times. It is from Rowayton, where they are Shakespeare on the Sound. This photo is from Two Gentlemen of Verona in 2014. Hamlet is this year's Shakespeare on the Sound production. Have you ever been to one of those?
Oh, it's just beautiful. I mean, I know a lot of towns do smaller versions of it, but it really is such a cool part of the summer.
And that will be at Pinckney Park in Rowayton, June 16th to July 3rd. That was a lot of fun there. 5 Darien police were honored by the U.S. Attorney for their work on the Sabato case. That was the person of interest in the Kenny Bateman murder, who was jailed on unrelated charges. Cuts that we're becoming far too familiar with in municipal aid from the state. And fireworks returning to Darien on July 2nd. It is about time to start talking about fireworks and Independence Day and July 4th.
Almost time. All right, we'll take a look at the front page of the Weston Forum. Seniors are going to be graduating on Monday, so of course that'll be big news. I'm sure there'll be lots of pictures in next week's Weston Forum. A story we talked about on Coffee Break, Senate candidate August Wolf accused of sexual harassment. And something I'm hearing about a lot more this year is Fisher cats are on the prowl. A lot of people have been hearing their loud, piercing calls in Weston and beyond. I've been hearing that is a growing issue. And congratulations to the Weston High School girls tennis team. They won their Class S championship on Friday.
Take a look at the Ridgefield Press.
Oh, John, yes. Let's talk about the Ridgefield Press, because I love this. The lead photo, Spencer and Biscuit are back. There's a flower lady who helps take care of the flower pots along Main Street, and she drives in a golf cart with her dog, and that is just too adorable.
That's a great shot. That's yeah, that's got Tom Nash written all over it there.
It does. It does.
Plans for a new church at St. Mary, which is just a beautiful, beautiful church.
Yeah, a lot of people are interested in that because what are they going to do with the current church? People aren't sure yet if that's going to get torn down. I know there's been a little bit of backlash to that plan. And of course, class of 2016 moving on next week. They will also be having their graduation.
Also moving on, the principal of East Ridge Middle School, who will be replaced by an administrator from Greenwich. That on the front page of the Ridgefield Press.
All right, well, those are our front pages this week, but still a busy day. Yankee Fisherman's coming up at 1 o'clock.
We have a lot of stuff today. I have a lot of stuff. We did some planting along the Mill River in the Fairfield Easton area with Nutmeg Trout Unlimited. We've got some footage of that. We talked to the organizers of Hooks for Heroes, which is a fishing tournament that it takes veterans fishing and raises money for them. That is in Stamford. And we're going to look, Father's Day is coming up, and if you've got a father who's got a ton of fish and stuff, there's something new on the market, and we met the inventor of it. And it's a real novel idea for surf casting. We're going to take a look at what Coastline Surf Systems has.
Cool. All right. And on HAN Arts and Leisure at 2 o'clock, let's just say we're going to have a pirate in studio. And that's all we're going to tell you. But our special guest is, in fact, a pirate. So we'll see what happens.
Yarr.
That's coming up at 2 o'clock. But we are going to wrap things up here on your coffee break. We will see you tomorrow at 11. Have a great day.